Wealth can provide comfort, but character provides direction. Before sending your child off to university, ensure you've instilled values that will guide them through the temptations of freedom. Teach them to harness their independence, to prioritize purpose over privilege, and to build a foundation of resilience that will sustain them long after the wealth is gone. To my new amazing viewers, please kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more interesting stories. Now, let's start the story. In the bustling and vibrant city of Lagos, Nigeria, there lived a wealthy and influential couple named Mr. Obi and Mrs. Rachel Johnson. The Johnsons were widely loved in their community for their generosity and kindness, always lending a helping hand to those in need. Their wealth was substantial, and they lived in a sprawling mansion with an air of elegance and sophistication. Despite their status, they remained humble, earning them respect from both the rich and poor in the city. The Johnsons had one child, a daughter named Blessing, who had just turned 20. Blessing was a strikingly beautiful young woman with a sharp mind, having recently completed her secondary education with top scores. In fact, she had scored over 300 in her JAM exam, securing admission to one of the most prestigious and expensive universities in Nigeria. Everyone who knew her was in awe of her brilliance, and her parents were incredibly proud of her achievements. However, one thing troubled Mr. Obi and Mrs. Rachel about their daughter Blessing was a spoiled child. Over the years, their wealth and indulgence had shielded her from many of life's harsh realities. As a result, she had developed a sharp tongue and a sense of entitlement. She often talked back to her parents whenever they tried to correct her behavior, dismissing their advice as old-fashioned. As the day came for Blessing to leave for university, her parents sat her down for a final conversation. "Blessing, you must be careful at university," her mother warned gently. "There will be temptations, but we trust you to make the right decisions. Stay away from bad company." Her father added, "Remember where you come from, don't join bad gangs, and don't let your pride lead you astray." Blessing nodded absent-mindedly, barely paying attention to their words. She was eager to begin her new life away from home, away from the watchful eyes of her parents. They dropped her off at the university gates, waving goodbye with heavy hearts, while Blessing walked confidently toward her future. 4 months later, Blessing had fully embraced the freedom university life had to offer. She had quickly made friends with a group of girls who were popular on campus, but they were known for all the wrong reasons. They skipped lectures, attended wild parties, stayed out late, and often smoked and drank heavily. Blessing, though brilliant, soon found herself drawn into their world. Seduced by the allure of living without boundaries, she started behaving recklessly, talking back to her lecturers and ignoring her academic responsibilities. Her parents, unaware of how far their daughter had strayed, continued to send her money and check in on her occasionally. Whenever they asked how she was doing, Blessing would lie, assuring them everything was fine. Blessing also started dating a boy named John, who genuinely cared for her. John was not like the other boys on campus. He was serious about his studies and had dreams of becoming an engineer. He often advised Blessing to stop skipping lectures and to focus on her studies, warning her about the dangers of the lifestyle she was living. But Blessing, blinded by her pride and rebelliousness, would mock him. "You're so boring, John." She'd sneer, "I don't need your advice. I'm fine the way I am." As time passed, their relationship became strained. John grew increasingly frustrated with Blessing's behavior, especially when he found out that she had been sleeping with other men. One heated argument between them finally led to their breakup. John, heartbroken, walked away, leaving Blessing to continue her downward spiral. By the time she entered her second year at university, Blessing was completely immersed in her reckless lifestyle. She would attend parties nearly every night, and her friends encouraged her not to worry about studying. "Don't bother reading, Blessing," they would say. "We always pass the exams, and we don't even study. You'll be fine." Blessing believed them. She skipped lectures, trusting that she would somehow pass without putting in any effort. On one of their wild nights out, Blessing slept with another man, carelessly neglecting to use protection. A month later, she started feeling unwell when she missed her period. Panic set in. A visit to the campus clinic confirmed her worst fears: she was pregnant. Blessing was terrified and didn't know what to do. Her friends, instead of offering support, advised her to get an abortion. Just get rid of it, they told her. No one will ever know. Afraid of her parents finding out, Blessing followed their advice and secretly terminated the pregnancy, but this decision left her feeling empty and ashamed. Despite this, Blessing's destructive behavior didn't stop. She continued sleeping with multiple men, becoming addicted to the wild nightlife and reckless freedom she had grown accustomed to. As she entered her final year at university, her academic performance had hit rock bottom. When exam results were released, Blessing failed almost all of her courses. To her shock, her friends who had always told her not to study had passed their exams. Unbeknownst to her, they had been secretly studying while maintaining the facade of carefree living. Feeling betrayed, Blessing lashed out at them, cutting their friendship and vowing never to speak to them again. She felt utterly alone, consumed by anger and regret. Not long after, she fell gravely ill. Her health deteriorated rapidly. She grew thin, pale, and weak. Her concerned parents rushed her to the hospital, where a series of tests were conducted. The results were devastating. Blessing had contracted HIV. Mr. Obi and Mrs. Rachel were heartbroken when they heard the news. Their once brilliant and promising daughter, who had the world at her feet, was now battling a life-threatening illness. The weight of her choices came crashing down on Blessing as she lay in the hospital bed, frail and exhausted. In her final days, Blessing's pride finally crumbled. She wept bitterly, realizing the extent of the damage she had done to herself and the pain she had caused her parents. "I'm sorry, Mama, Papa," she whispered through tears. "I should have listened." Her parents, though devastated, stood by her side. They had always loved her, and even in her lowest moments, they could not abandon her. They prayed for her, holding her hands and comforting her as she faced the consequences of her choices. Blessing passed away a few months later, her body ravaged by the illness. Her death left a void in her parents' lives, a profound sorrow that would never truly fade. Yet, her tragic story served as a lesson to those who knew her, a reminder of how pride and poor choices could lead to ruin. The Johnsons, despite their grief, continued to give back to their community, sharing Blessing's story with young people in the hopes of guiding them away from the path she had taken. They channeled their pain into helping others, establishing a foundation in Blessing's name to raise awareness about HIV and to support youth in making better life choices. In the end, Blessing's journey from pride to humility, though heartbreaking, was not in vain. Her story became a beacon of caution for others, a tale of lost potential and the importance of listening to those who truly care. The end. Hey there, amazing viewers. If you enjoyed the stories on my channel, please consider subscribing. Your support means the world to me and helps me create even more interesting content for you. Thank you so much for watching and being part of this journey.